Hey guys, it's a girl here, the one that started it all, and I have a movie review. And this movie was requested by a new automation who has requested that I watch a movie before, and it was KGF, uh, Coral Collar Goldfields. Sorry. And they recommended that I watch that movie. Now, they recommended that I watch another movie by the name of Pushpa. And to be quite honest, I didn't like it. I mean, it was okay. It was something new. I mean, if I was to rate it, it would be a 5. The reason why is it was because it's predictability and its runtime, but mostly because it was very predictable, It almost reminded me of Morbius, beside the whole vampiric superhero thing. It got pretty predictable. Once you knew who was who, you had an idea, oh, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. And unfortunately, it did. Like I said, it was okay, and the thing of it is, it was predictable. So basically, Pushpa is about a man who is. It's about smugglers and the cops. So the smugglers are smuggling a very rare kind of wood called red sandalwood, and you can only get that on certain parts. Now, the thing of it is, the police are on top of them, trying to stop that, trying to seize them because they can get a lot of money for that. Now, Pushpa is a smuggler. He is what you would call a coolie, which is a new word for me, but it turns out it's that's a term used in Asia, and it means it's basically like laborer, low wage laborer, and he is of that, and he tries to go up through the ranks, trying to make his mark on the world. Well, one day the police raid the syndicate, and he takes whatever wood, all the stocks, all the assets, and hides them. Once everything starts to come down, he then retrieves them and gives it and takes it to his boss, Kanda, which impresses him. It's looking good. It's looking very good for our man. It impresses the boss, and the boss makes him, he earns his trust. He earns his trust. Over time, he starts, Pushpa starts hopping the ranks through his ideas and innovations. Pretty soon, he becomes his partner, Kanda's partner, his boss's partner. Now, we got another businessman called Serenu, and he's like the big, kahuna of that syndicate. So basically, he tells the boss, Kanda, to say he entrusts him with like 200 of the stock, and he tells him, you need to protect it, you need to keep it there. Basically, he says, make sure your brother Jolly does a good job. He says, no, I'm gonna entrust this stock with Pushpa, and it doesn't really go well with Jolly, and a lot of crazy stuff happens after that. At one point, and there's one scene where it's about to be seized, like everything's about to be seized and everything, and Pushpa makes it go down the river so it won't be seized. Basically a good move on his part. You can't touch me. Things like that. And the police have been wanting to go after these people, and to no avail because of Pushpa's great resourcefulness and things like that. Thus, as that happens, he's at a party, and then which he hears that Sunri has basically been putting the wages of the wood up higher than what he's paying Kanda and everyone else. It enrages Pushpa, and he goes kind of like, we should get that fair cut, blah blah blah. But then later backs down because going after that dude is very, very risky. Not kosher. But around that time, he meets his woman. He falls in love with her, and time passes, and they become engaged. And at a party, basically, her family is not too fond of her choice because he's very low level. They don't like him because of his lineage. He was not of a great family. He was raised by his mother and things like that. That pisses him off, and then there's a scuffle, a fight breaks out. His mother, Pushpa's mother, tries to break it up, and she gets injured. Not wanting to be a fool, not going to be belittled, he gets angry, and it motivates him, things like that. It motivates him, and it gets to a point where he smuggles like a good amount towards Sunray and tells him, you need to pay this X amount for every time we bring in. He laughs, Sunray laughs and has his man go after him. He basically beats their asses. He beats them up real good. Then he takes the wood and then sells the wood. He sells it for like more than what he was asking, which him and his boss split. They both share, what they gain. But obviously, it's left a sour taste in both Serenu's mouth and Jolly's mouth. It gets to a point where Jolly decides to blackmail Pushpa's fiance by holding her father captive, and basically tells her, "You want him back? Do stuff." Pushpa is enraged. He's pissed off. He finds out, and he beats the crap out of him to a point where he is merely paralyzed. Now, here's the predictable part. I was like, okay, this ain't gonna go well. Watch the boss, get pissed off, find out, and try to kill him. Lo and behold, it happened. Konda finds out about what Pushpa did to his brother and tries to kill him. But he ends up being ambushed by Serenu's men, who obviously was going after him and Pushpa to begin with. Pushpa, sees this and ends up fighting them off. And then it pretty much, and Konda gets killed. So they kill Konda, and then he fights them off. And then basically you have these two big warring, now that, how can I say, now that Pushpa's kind of up there, now there's neck and neck. You have a board, parliament, like the MPL, I believe that's what it's called. Some members of parliament, not wanting to be an all-out war, basically says we want a truce. And through some talking and so forth, they are rather impressed what Pushpa did, and they make him head of their syndicate. Obviously, it doesn't go for the big boss, Serenu, because it doesn't seem to fit well with his wife. And his wife X's him out. Well, I guess she didn't want to be married to a fool. Then a good time jump happens, and our boy's at his prime. He's like the most influential businessman, things like that. He's up there. And then, of course, the police are still after him. They know, they're still after the syndicate, trying to break him down, but they just can't. So you have this new kahuna who is now he's the head of the department. And Pushpa notices he's got a bit of a problem. So he goes and visits, this new guy, and he tries to bribe him. And the guy berates him in front of everyone on how he ridicules him, basically, belittles him, and, how he has no respect, he's just supposed to call me sir, blah, blah, blah. This angers our boy, and our boy is about to fight him. The guy obviously says, "Oh, no, you want to fight me? You better think twice, open your hands," because he has his fists, like he's going to fight. The police guy, I'm going to say the captain, the captain threatens him, like, "Oh, I'm going to shoot your hands if you don't do it," blah, blah, blah. And he relucts, he backs down, and our boy leaves the station. Which is kind of weird because he never backs down. But when I saw this, I'm like, something's going to happen. Watch, he's probably going to catch the dude somewhere else. And I was right. The night of Pushpa's wedding, he meets the officer. They talk over drinks and so forth. And he brings up on how, he brings up how they met. Shoots him in the hand, takes his revolver and shoots him, and then tells him to strip. As the officer's stripping, he starts stripping. And he goes, "You think you're so tough because you're a policeman, but look at you now, like a dog that you are, You think that we're both the same, let's get real here, blah, blah, blah." He says, "I bet you when you walk the street, a dog will bark at you because they don't recognize you without your, officer uniform, blah, blah, blah." And lo and behold, when the guy leaves, he leaves, and of course, he doesn't have his uniform on, and the dog barks at him, which angers the crap out of him. And obviously, he's not liking it and so forth. But, that's how the movie ends. And there is a second movie that is being filmed right now. It is called The Rule. And honestly, it's basic. You kind of know for a fact this dude's gonna come right back and it's gonna make them pay. Obviously, they're gonna fight each other, most definitely. Like I said before, it was predictable. It was okay. I'll give it a 5. I give it a 5 because it was predictable. I mean, once you had the key players and the story and what's going on, it's pretty much predictable from there. It was okay. It was all right. Would I watch the sequel? I honestly don't know. I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. I don't know. I'm on the fence because, like I said, when you watch a movie, like let's say you watch the first one and you like the first one and you hear about the second one, you want to watch the second one. But if the second one fails you, you're not gonna care too much about it. Like for example, Doctor Strange. The first movie was good, and then I thought, okay, cool, they're making a sequel to it. Perhaps it will be awesome. I watched the sequel, and the sequel had nothing to do with the first one. It just, it didn't have Mordor in it. I thought, it was going to be a continuation of that storyline because Mordor wants revenge on Strange because Strange broke the rules. And on top of that, he said at the ending of Doctor Strange, there's too many sorcerers. So he's probably trying to fight to be the main one because he doesn't want any rule breakers, things like that. But, for this movie, I don't know. Like I said, I'm on the fence. I didn't like it that much, It was something different, something to watch. But would I watch it again? No, it was okay. It was a 5. A 5 out of 10. Oh my God! A new automation. Thank you for this request. The action sequences were pretty cool. It's just the concept. I mean, too predictable. It was predictable, It was okay. Again, thank you for the suggestion. And also, be on the lookout for KGF's Chapter 2. I will be watching it. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten that. As soon as it becomes released, I will watch it and I will do a review, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But all in all, thank you so much for suggesting this movie, Pushpa. If you guys are interested and want to watch it, go ahead. It was good. It was good. I mean, it was good in the sense of action sequences, but it was okay in how the execution of it, of it as a whole. It was okay. I'll give it a 5. But all in all, thank you, Anu, and all of you. Be safe out there, and have a good day, okay?